Shalom, brothers and sisters, and once again, this is Brother Brendan Judah Matt Duffy, representing the Solid Foundation International Ministries. We want to say all praises due to Yahweh, which is the Heavenly Father, S.F.I.M, Yahawashi, which is the Son of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And we want to also say double honors to the elders, salutations to the Archeum, is bringing forth the truth on the hedges, on the highways and byways, waking up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Last but not least, all praises due once again to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahawashi. And on today, we are doing a lesson concerning, this lesson is concerning the Immaculate Conception. Alright, the Immaculate Conception. This is what this lesson is about today, and we're going to cover this as quick as possible. Now, let's go ahead and get into the lesson concerning the Immaculate Conception. So what I'm going to be doing is I have my Android phone, and I'm going to basically do this on my phone. Alright, as you can see right here, you can see me, Brother Brendan Judah Matt Duffy. I'm going to actually do this on my phone for the sake of time. And the main thing that I will be using is BLB, which is the Blue Letter Bible. And we'll get right into this lesson concerning the Immaculate Conception. Now, the question is, was Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus Christ, was he immaculate conceived, or was he the actual son of Joseph? Was he the biological son of Joseph? Well, you will get your answer by the time this lesson ends. Alright, so we're going to start off in the New Testament. We're going to the book of Luke, beginning with the first chapter in Luke. Alright, so we're going to start, basically, we're going to start reading from Luke 1:26. Let's go down to the 26th verse out of Luke chapter 1. Alright. This is the 26th verse right here. It says, in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from power into a city of Galilee named Nazareth. Now we're going on to the 27th verse. To a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. So it says that, as you can see right here, an angel, which name was Gabriel, was sent from God, from power, into a city of Galilee to Nazareth, to a virgin. Now, it says to a virgin. The term virgin just basically means a young woman of marriageable age. It says that Mary, you can see clearly that Mary right here was a virgin, as she was espoused to a man. So Mary was espoused to a man. Who was that man? His name was Joseph. So you can see right here that espoused basically means betrothed, or betrothed means simply engaged. So Mary was engaged to Joseph. It says of the house of David, because Joseph came from out of the bloodline, the seed line of David. Alright. It says in the virgin's name was Mary. So right here, they is espoused, they is engaged, okay? They is betrothed. Just to give you further information on espousement, we'll go into the interlinear to show you more. We're going into the interlinear. Just have patience, brothers and sisters. This lesson is very important, because I've been planning on doing this lesson, but here it is today. So remember, as we was reading in Luke chapter 1 verse 27, it was saying to a virgin espoused to a man. So when you look at espoused in the Greek, that's 34:23. 34:23 All right, and basically it means to woo her and ask her in marriage. That's what espouse means. Or two, to be promised in marriage, be betrothed. That's what it means, okay? So you can see right here, espouse means to woo her and ask her in marriage. Basically, will you marry me? Or you can, basically, you commit some type of commitment to your woman, and you promise her not to, not to cheat on her, and to be faithful to her. You promise her in marriage, basically, to be promised in marriage, to be betrothed. So that's what espouse means. So when you go back, I just wanted to show you, brothers and sisters, that when you go back, now we see to a virgin, espouse to a man. All right. Now, so you can see right there, they wasn't having sexual intercourse or nothing. Mary and Joseph was not having sexual intercourse. They were just simply engaged to one another. They was espoused. All right. So now, what is virgin? We're gonna show you. We're gonna do this one step at a time. What is virgin? Because it said a virgin. We're gonna show you what virgin is. All right. Because it says to a virgin. So let's look what virgin means. That's in the Greek. That's G3933 in the Greek, which is Parthenos, which is virgin. So let's click in that. It says the outline of the biblical usage of this term virgin. It says a marriageable maiden. Okay, a woman who has never had sexual intercourse with a man. One's marriageable daughter. A man who has abstained from all uncleanness and whoredom. So this is what we're going to roll with. Simply as for virgin, it says a marriageable maiden was married. It's a marriageable maiden, meaning a woman that's capable of being married at a young age. It says a woman who has never had sexual intercourse with a man. We're going to go with B, because Mary basically and Joseph was espoused at that time. So she was basically a young woman who never had sexual intercourse with Joseph, because at the time, let's not forget, the scriptures tell you that they was espoused. All right, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, because Joseph basically, like I said, he was a descendant of Joseph was a descendant of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. So we're going to continue to read. It says, and the angel came to her and said, Hail, thou that art highly favored, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. So the angel Gabriel told Mary that, Hail, thou art highly favored, because he said, why? The Lord Yahawashi is with thee, and blessed art thou among women. Now, why was Mary basically blessed and highly favored? Why was that? That's the question. Because it says she was blessed and highly favored. Was it because when we read on down, it's going to tell you that she was overshadowed with the Holy Spirit? Now, why was she blessed and highly favored? Tell you why she was blessed and highly favored. The reason why she was blessed and highly favored because of Joseph. All right, that's why she was blessed and highly favored, because Joseph also came out the lineage of David. All right, that's why she was blessed and highly favored, because of Joseph, because through Joseph seed would come Yahawashi. All right, she was blessed and highly favored because of her husband. All right, that's why. All right, that's very important, because Joseph came from out of the house of David, and Yahawashi came from Joseph. So Yahawashi came from out of the house of David, from out of the bloodline of David. So that's very important to know that, man. That's why she was simply blessed and highly favored. For the ones that don't understand that, that's why. All right. So we're gonna continue to move on. So you're gonna continue to move. It says, verse 29. All right, it says, when she saw him, this is verse 29. When she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. All right. So she was troubled in her mind. She didn't know what was basically going on, because when this angel Gabriel delivered this message to her, she didn't know what to believe or what to think, man. Let's continue to read. Let's look at verse 30. It says, and the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with power. Thou hast found favor with power. Now, we're going to continue to read on. It says, 31, and behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Jesus. But we know that's not correct, the correct term here. All right, because we're going to show you why. It says, behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb, and thou shalt bring forth a son, shall call his name really Yahawashi. Yahawashi is supposed to be here, but you know, the scholars defiled our bread, and they put Jesus, which is Greek, and Yahawashi didn't speak Greek. All right, but anyways, in order for a woman to conceive a child in her womb, she have to have dealings and sexual intercourse with a man. Because when you look at going to interlinear, when you look at conceive, they say thou shalt conceive in the Greek, which is 48:15, conceived in the Greek. When they say thou shalt conceive, if you look at it, says to seize, take one as prisoner. Number 2, to conceive of a woman. See, so to conceive of a woman. When you look at that, man, basically conceive. You cannot conceive a child by not going through the sperm of a man. All right. So let's look at 32. He shall be great. He shall be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord Yahweh, Paul, shall give unto him the throne of his father David. All right. This is the 32nd verse. It says, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. So where's this precept to this verse concerning Luke 1:33? Because it says he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever. It says, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. Now I'm going to show you basically the precept to Luke 1:33, because it said his kingdom will have no end. So was it prophesied in the Old Testament concerning Luke 1:33 that he shall reign over the house of Jacob and his kingdom, and there shall be no end, simply meaning that his kingdom shall be forever? I'm gonna show you where that was basically prophesied in the Old Testament, dealing with 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 12. So let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 12, and we'll come back to Luke 1:33. We're going to go to the Old Testament, or some may say the Old Covenant, concerning Luke 1:33, when it was telling you out of Luke 1:33, it says that he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. That was talking about in Luke 1:33, St. Luke. It said that his kingdom shall be no end. Was it prophesied in the Old Testament that Yahawashi kingdom shall have no end? Yeah, we're going to show you. This is in 2 Samuel 7 and 12. So we're going down right here to 2 Samuel. All right. And we're going to 7. And we're going to look at verse 12, because Nathan, when you look at 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 3, it says, and Nathan said to the king, go do all that is in thy heart, for the Lord Yahweh is with thee. See, and it came to pass that night, this is 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 4, and it came to pass that night that the word of the Yahweh the Lord came into Nathan, saying, go tell my servant David, thus said the Lord Yahweh, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in. Now we know David didn't build the temple for the Most High to dwell in. It was Solomon that built the temple for the Most High to dwell in, concerning verse 5. Alright? But we're going to show you that more than Solomon came out of David's loins. We're going to show you that Yahawashi came also out of David's loins. So let's go down to 12. Verse 12. So this is what Nathan the prophet told David concerning Yahawashi, who the world called Jesus Christ, that was going to come from his loins. 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. This is what Nathan is telling David. He said, I will set up thy seed. See that? I will set up thy seed, meaning sperm, after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. Now who is this talking about? Is this talking about King Solomon, or is it talking about Yahawashi? It's talking about Yahawashi, and we're going to show you that. But before we go any further, we're going to show you when it says, I will set up his seed. We're going to show you what seed basically means in the Strong Concordance, the Hebrew definition of seed. Alright? So now we going on down, because it says when the days be fulfilled. This is 2 Samuel 7 and 12. When thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed. Let's see what seed means in the Hebrew dictionary. Thy seed. This is Hebrew 22:33. Seed basically means zarah. So we're going to click in that. It says the outline of biblical uses of the term seed in the Hebrew, which is Hebrew 22:33. Seed, sowing, offspring, okay? A sowing, seed, semen, viral, offspring, descendants, posterity, children, okay? So you can see right there what seed basically means in the Hebrew 22:32. It means seed, offspring, it means semen, it means descendants, it also means posterity, children. So when you go back concerning 2 Samuel 7 verse 12, and when thy days be fulfilled, this is what Nathan is telling David now. When your days be fulfilled, David, and you shall sleep with thy fathers, it says, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It says, I will set up thy seed, I will set up your progeny, your posterity, your children, your descendants, your offspring. I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. Okay? And I will establish his kingdom. Who is he talking about? Let's find out. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Now, was it talking about King Solomon? Because King Solomon's throne was not forever. So it's not talking about King Solomon here, because his throne was not forever. Alright? It's talking about Yahawashi, because his kingdom would be an everlasting kingdom. How do we know that? Because did it not say in Luke? I'm going to show you this. Did it not say right here in St. Luke chapter 1 verse 33? Did it not say that angel Gabriel told Mary that he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end? Now, did not the angel Gabriel tell Mary that? Because he was telling Mary that the son that you're going to conceive, the son that you're going to give birth to, he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom there shall be no end. So when you go back to 2 Samuel chapter 7 verse 13, it says, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Alright, this is what Nathan was telling David. Okay, because Yahawashi, who the world calls Jesus Christ, is going to come from out of thy bowels, from out of thy seed. And he's going to build a house, and I'm going to establish the same throne of his kingdom forever. So this is not Solomon, because Solomon's kingdom failed. Solomon committed iniquity, man. Solomon had 1,000 wives, and they took away his heart from the Most High. So this is not talking about King Solomon. We're going to show you. It says, and I will be his father, and he shall be my son. And if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of man, and with the stripes of the children of man. Now Solomon committed iniquity. He committed iniquity by taking upon himself foreign women that's out of his nation, and he caused the kingdom of Israel to be divided to two separate kingdoms. But did Solomon pay in his lifetime for what he did when he caused the kingdom to be rended? No. Was he chastened with the rod of iron, the rod of man? No, Solomon wasn't chastened with the rod of man. Solomon died of a peaceful life. So he was never chastened with the rod of man. So who is this simply talking about? It's talking about Yahawashi, because he was the only man that was chastened with the rod of man and with the stripes of the children of man. Alright? He was the only man. It says, but my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I have put away before thee. So this is talking about Yahawashi, and we're going to show you. Because he was the one that was chastened with the rod of man, not Solomon. Solomon died a peaceful life. We're going to show you he was the one that was chastened with the rod of man. We're going in the Old Testament once again, and we're going to look at Isaiah 53 to show you that Yahawashi was chastened with the rod of man. This is Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53. It says, we're going to start from verse 1 out of Isaiah 53. Who have believed our report? And to whom is the arm of the Lord Yahweh revealed? First Isaiah 53 verse 2. For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of dry ground. He had no form nor comeliness. This is talking about Yahawashi. This is what Isaiah was prophesying by Yahawashi. He have no form of comeliness. So Yahawashi wasn't a good looking man, y'all. Alright. It says, and when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we shall desire him. Yeah, because they beat him so bad. Because Isaiah was in the spirit, and he was prophesying how Yahawashi would be beaten and bruised, and how he would be afflicted. That's why he had no form of comeliness, because they beat him so bad that he was barely noticeable, man. They beat him just that bad. It says, when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we shall desire him. Yeah, because of how they brutalized him, man. When he was going through that suffering and persecution. Verse 3 out of Isaiah 53. He is despised and rejected of man, a man of sorrows, and acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Verse 4 out of Isaiah 53. He had borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted. That's why he had no form of comeliness, because he was stricken, he was smitten, and he was afflicted. They beating him, man. They brutalized him till he was barely noticeable. Verse 5 out of Isaiah 53. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. Now this is talking about the prophetic message of Yahawashi during his crucifixion. So it says, but he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. Who was done like that? Yahawashi, man. Who the world called Jesus Christ. So he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. So you see, it says the chastisement of our peace was upon him. Now, this is very essential, very important, because Isaiah 53:5 says, his chastisement of our peace was upon him. Now, what did we just read out of 2 Samuel chapter 7? We're going to go back to that. 2 Samuel chapter 7. What we just read in 2 Samuel chapter 7, dealing with verse 14. It says, I will be his father, and he shall be my son, and if he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of man. Solomon was not chastened with the rod of man. So Nathan was telling David, man, that in many years to come, that it's going to be a particular child that's going to come out of your sperm line, your bloodline, and he going to be chastened with the rod of man and with the stripes of the children of man. And that was talking about Yahawashi. All right? How we know that? Because we just read it in Isaiah 53. It says that Isaiah 53:5, but he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we're healed. So Yahawashi was prophesied in the Old Testament, man. To come through whose loins? To come through David's loins. To come through his seed line. All right? Don't forget about that. He came through the seed line of David. All right? How do we know that? Because it tells you out of 2 Samuel chapter 2 verse 7, when thy days be fulfilled. This is what Nathan is telling David. When your days be fulfilled, David, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. Now, see, that's talking about Yahawashi that was going to come out of the bowels of David. That was going to come out of his seed line. So if Yahawashi was immaculate conceived, then this is impossible. Because if he was immaculate conceived, this shouldn't even be where he would proceed out of the bowels of David. This shouldn't be when it says, I will set up thy seed after thee, he shall proceed out of thy bowels, if he was immaculate conceived. But you're going to find out that your Christian pastors, your Christian churches, your organizations is lying to you, man. And in those churches, there is no truth. Because we see right here, it says, I will set up thy seed after thee. This is 2 Samuel 7 and verse 12. I will set up thy seed after thee. I will set up thy seed. I will set up thy seed after thee. This is what Nathan is telling David. Your seed, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, is a child going to come, and I'm going to establish this certain kingdom with this child. It's not talking about Solomon. Why? Because it says that I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Solomon's kingdom was not forever. This is talking about Yahawashi. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. So now we can see right here when you go back to Luke chapter 1, and when you look at verse 33, that the angel Gabriel told Mary that he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and out of his kingdom there shall be no end. And verse 33 says he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and out of his kingdom there shall be no end. So what is the key points out of Luke chapter 1 verse 33? He shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom there shall be no end. Where is this recorded at? Once again, this is recorded in 2 Samuel, because that's the precept. 2 Samuel 7 verse 12 and 13, when it says, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels. I will set up thy seed after thee. This is what Nathan told David. Which shall proceed out of thy bowels. I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house. This is verse 13. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. So Solomon's kingdom was not forever. Once again, Yahawashi kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, man. And this is talking about a prophetic message, how David came to how Nathan came to David and told him that a king was going to come out of his bowels, that he will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. A king was going to come out of the seed of David. Nathan told David that out of thy bowels I will set up thy seed. That's Yahawashi. So once again, he was not immaculate conceived, man. He was not immaculate conceived, because if he was, then he couldn't be able to set up his seed out of his bowels. Concerning 2 Samuel chapter 7 verses 12 and 13. And verse 13 tells you that I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. And that's the precept to St. Luke right here. Verse 33, when the angel Gabriel told Mary that he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and out of his kingdom there shall be no end. Because that was prophesied in 2 Samuel chapter 7 verses 12 and 13 about Yahawashi to come. So this is part 1 concerning the Immaculate Conception, man. Alright, this is part 1 concerning the Immaculate Conception. And stay tuned for part 2.